goes a banging. The dog. The dog. Hello and welcome. Elaine Marolakos Edelson with astrologymojo.com. Transformational astrology at its best. And it's a beautiful Saturday here in October, Sedona. And we are going to be talking about transiting Saturn again in 3 more houses. And I just want to welcome, we have some new places viewing us, and that's Taiwan and Wisconsin, Rhode Island, and Peru. Yes, Peru. How very cool. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. And you can always catch my replay. I am typically here now Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. But this coming week, October 10th, I will not be here on Thursday. I'll be here on Wednesday on the 9th instead. So just take notes on that one. And well, okay, so there's lots to talk about with transiting Saturn. And we did talk about houses 2 and what did we talk about already? We talked about 2, 3, and 7, where Saturn is transiting through the universe and around your chart. And depending on which house it's in, it takes up a whole different energy. Now it's been retrograde. Saturn has been retrograde. So now that it's direct, it's going to be reflective of your need to set a structure, to create more responsibility, to adhere to a certain discipline, or perhaps become the authority or become known as the authority. What can that mean? Well, we're going to be talking about 3 other houses today. Let's start. And, in fact, I created a little video so that you can see what it looks like when transiting universal planets are going around your chart. I chose the actress Laura Dern's chart to show you. This is very cool. I'm very excited I was able to do this. Now just watch this. Look at the planets in the outer ring. They're going to start to move. And you can see up at the date at the top by October 20th, and it's going to loop. The sun is moving toward Neptune. Now the sun is conjunct the south node. Here by the first week of November, Laura Dern experiences a retrograde, and like everyone else, and then by November 15th, her sun is conjunct her Neptune. So it's just going to play on a loop so you can get another close look at that. It's fascinating. Now you can see Jupiter move into the 10th house. The outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, Saturn, and Pluto, move slower, but you can see by minutes how they are advancing through the chart. And Laura Dern has a Saturn in Capricorn, like everyone else, in her 11th house. So she's going to start to assume a role of maturity, responsibility, even more so, perhaps take on a leadership role and or have a mentor or perhaps a grandparent issue, something, related to an elder authority figure. So, but isn't that fascinating how you can see the planets that are in the heavens now on the outer wheel rotating around Laura Dern's chart? My goodness, I'm just looking at her chart now. She has so many Pisces planets and a Pisces moon. Wow. Pretty cool. And her Saturn is in the 1st house in her natal chart. But now transiting Saturn in Laura Dern's chart is over in the 11th house. Pretty fascinating, isn't it? I'll show this again later on, but just want to move now into the 1st house that we're going to be talking about. Oh, and coming up on Monday, I'm going to have a really fantastic special offer for you regarding your transits. And but we'll talk about that on Monday, so please tune in on Monday. And let's start with Saturn in the 1st house. let's go there today. Saturn in the first house. Okay. The first house represents your body, your personality, your style, how you dress, how you choose to express yourself. It also has to do with your adult independence as much as your early childhood traumatic memories or more impactful memories. So when Saturn is transiting through your first house, as it is in Capricorn now, coupled with Pluto, it's a very powerful combination that your self-image really is undergoing a boost. Either you feel the need to completely overhaul your wardrobe, or perhaps you're looking at, I want to have cosmetic surgery, or you have a health issue and you might need to have surgery, or something is shifting so much in your whole persona that you take on an aura, an air of maturity. You become the leader of the group and want to start separating yourself from other associations, perhaps, or thoughts or belief systems that you've had, or ideologies that just don't work for you. Your body is screaming unforgiving. So what is it that you're not forgiving? Some part of yourself, your past, your memory, your cellular level is really undergoing a huge transformation with Saturn transiting the first house. Now, if you were born with natal Saturn, you come off as a very independent adult authority. You're the designated driver when your friends go out for a party. So when Saturn is transiting your first house, you tend to place restrictions on having pleasure first. It's like you wake up on a Saturday morning, I'm just going to stretch into the day. It's such a beautiful day. And, I'm just going to relax. And, you have your agenda right by your bed. First, I have to wash the floors. Then I got to do laundry. And that. So you tend to minimize your pleasure. And, if you were born with Saturn in the first house, you might have been born with under difficult circumstances. And that can be, in astrology, the first house, the sixth house, and the 8th and 12th houses deal a lot with your physicality, your health, your well-being, psyche, mental stability, and other things like that. But when Saturn is in your transiting in direct motion in your first house, you're feeling the need to really, stave off sugar and deny yourself those other pleasures that might have been like, ooh, a bag of chips after work before dinner. Okay. But now you're feeling that need to, I got to get my strength back. I need to temper my extremes. I need to move into a place of responsible maturity. And so I think the biggest challenge when Saturn is moving through the first or the sixth house, and we are going to talk about the sixth house as well, is the Saturn represents the structure in your world. And that can mean your house structure or how you build a business, but your body. And with Saturn in the first house, where it deals with your physical body, we are looking at skin, teeth, joints, bones, knees, teeth. Okay, so if you are a Capricorn rising, you have or Saturn transiting your first house, you're really going to be feeling the need to, take care of your teeth more, to not slump or crane your neck when you're sitting, so that you have a better structure in your seat, that you're supporting your system. And you're really minimizing those extremes. Now, sometimes, the Saturn energy represents denial because it's a karmic planet. And it's too harsh to see the things that you haven't gotten done or that you regret from your past. So I want you to, every once in a while, if Saturn is transiting your first house right now, or on the cusp of your 12th to the first house. And we're going to also talk about the 12th house. Well, why not? Let's talk about these three really impactful energies that deal with your psyche and your body and how that ties in together. Take a nap at noon or 1 o'clock in the afternoon. If you can, put up your feet for 10 minutes, meditate during the day, give yourself an added pleasure of taking a break and doing something that gives you joy. With Saturn transiting the first house, you really want to minimize the carbs, the sugar, extremes, anything that is addictive in quality and that affects your body and your physical well-being. So give yourself those small pleasures and minimize the severity of your inner critic saying, you haven't finished the job, didn't get it done. Okay. And when you do that, you're gonna use your wit and sharpen that humorous sense that you have about sometimes the absurdities of life or the cycles of life that put you in a place of, okay, we're minimalists this month, So as Saturn moves through the first house, you know what? I'm going to just dovetail off of that right into Saturn in the 12th house, because Saturn in the 12th house and the first house have very similar significance. Although Saturn in the 12th house transiting, and or if you were born with Saturn in the 12th house, there's a difficulty in psyche. There's a deep-seated, rooted fear that needs to emerge, and a theory, a false belief that needs to be dispelled. So when Saturn is retrograde, you're gathering facts, you're researching, you're discerning, disassociating from some things, but discerning, what do I need? How do I go about it? What's the best way? And then when Saturn goes direct, especially in the 12th house, you have a plan of action for your well-being. You need a psychologist. You need a different dentist. You need a chiropractor. You need to meditate more. You need to get in touch with your divine essence that frees you from restriction and limitations, especially fears. Right? Now, Saturn in the 12th house, and by the way, come join me. We're talking about Saturn transiting in direct motion now through the houses. We just finished up talking about house 1, but we're going to couple that with house 12 as well, because house 12 is, house 12 and house 1 go together sometimes, especially when Saturn is there, because you feel restricted emotionally, psychologically. There's a fear that needs to really surface. By the time Saturn is transiting your first house, you are well aware of what needs to be done and how to take care of this. And I know someone who has Saturn transiting their 11th to 12th house and just coming into the 12th house, and right away they're seeing a psychologist. They might be referred to a psychiatrist. They might have to go on anxiety medication. They're discovering things about how their chemistry works, their body, lab results, etc. So when Saturn is transiting your 12th house, it really is a time to understand the pressure that you put yourself under and how that can be a psychological pattern of sabotage. Or you might, that I'm going to push through no matter what. I'm going to get this done no matter what. To the point where you feel absolutely crazy. Literally, just absolutely out of your mind. Now, sometimes we need to lose a bit of our mind that doesn't serve us anymore so we can embrace something new, right? But it doesn't feel good to feel crazy. Okay. A little sip of the universe. So, when Saturn transits if you were born with Saturn in the 12th house, you feel like you were born for a mission, for a purpose to serve. When Saturn is transiting your 12th house, you suddenly feel burdened or an added or extra responsibility to take care of not only your well-being, but someone else in your immediate circle. Could be a family member, could be a pet. It could be an aging pet, also dealing with the sixth house, and we are going to talk about the sixth house as well today. This could, in Saturn transiting the 12th house in direct motion, because now it's just more, that energy in you is more definitive. You understand that you've been through something, and now you want to take charge, and because the 12th house deals with psychology, secrets, the self-sabotage patterns that you have, fears, deep-seated, rooted fears, connection to the divine, also your secrets that you don't even know. It's what you don't know that you don't know in the 12th house. And it's your mental health, yes. It's deep-seated and rooted beliefs, absolutely. It's clandestine behavior. If you've got other planets transiting the 12th house, well, we've got Pluto there, right? Right now, wherever Saturn is, Pluto is. And that is literally discovering the core, the shore of your unconscious self. And that could be quite a shocker. When you discover things about yourself and you think, oh my gosh, had I not had that counseling session, that tarot reading, that massage, that retreat center, that time alone, that extra nap, I would not have realized how horribly I was treating myself, or how mistrusting I was in the universe about other people, or how I kept myself hidden, although I put out a projection of authority, but deep down I was a basket case. So there's a lot that goes on in the 12th house that you don't always see. And with Saturn there, it feels like extra pressure. So if you need something like ashwagandha, which is an herb, make sure you check with your doctor that you're not allergic to it. I don't know of anyone who is, but that's my disclaimer. Ashwagandha is an adaptogen, so it goes into your body. It's an Indian herb. I get the powdered form because the capsules take time to digest. And then, but within 10 minutes, I feel calmer with ashwagandha. 1 teaspoon in a cup of tea or some water. It's very earthy tasting. So if you're not into that, what's this brew? You might want to mix it in with a little vitamin powder or, juice or whatever it is that sweetens your day. So ashwagandha can help support the adrenals, so you're not feeling so charged and stressed out all the time, that flight or fight thing. But it also calms the nerves, but gives you calm energy, and helps you to detach more from trauma while you're undergoing hypnotherapy, psychological counseling, even EFT tapping. With Saturn in the 12th house, transiting the 12th house, I want to see you do some methods that help you remove those anxious and anxiety based traumas. And they're self-imposed. A lot of these are self-imposed, and that's going to be the realization with Pluto there as well. Now, I was incorrect the other day. I said that Saturn was going to be in Capricorn for another year, through March of, I believe, the 22nd, through March 22nd or 1st of 2020. So we are now in October, November, December, January, February, March. So another 5 months of solid transits through your 12th house. Get your teeth cleaned, and you might have to have x-rays to really look at the bone structure. Maybe you're having reconstructive surgery. Maybe it's a time for replenishing those adrenals or the joints, taking extra collagen. And if you can swing it, gelatin, but sourced from healthy grass-fed, grass-finished beef, if you're not a vegan or a vegetarian, that also helps to lubricate the joints so that you don't feel like you're sinking into yourself and getting really tiny. Okay, so that's Saturn moving through the 12th house. You're going to relieve the pressure. Now, a lot of you already feel like you're the guinea pig of the zodiac, especially if you were born with Saturn in the 12th house. But with Saturn transiting the 12th house, moving into the first house, you're going to feel like, what just happened to me? You're going to be given extra responsibility. You're going to feel the pressure. You're going to also realize that a lot of the pressure that is in your world, you have created yourself from some karmic need to serve, but at the sake of yourself. Whoa! Let's stop right there. Stop right there. I gotta know right now. Am I crazy? Am I crazy forever? Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're not crazy, although you might feel crazy. But we're going to relieve the pressure. Now, I've given in previous videos, I've shown you ways to move that energy by clapping your hands. The moment you're feeling the pressure, the stress, I got to get it done. I'm out of breath. It's too much responsibility. I feel overwhelmed. I want you to stop, take a deep breath, and exhale. Shy from medication that you don't need, like alcohol or, too much wine just to numb you. Let's go for the healthy things. The herbs, ashwagandha is one of them. Melatonin before bed to help you relax and sleep. Also magnesium powder, but again, check with your doctor. And if you do need something stronger, then that's when you make a connection with a professional and you say, this is what's been going on. And so as you engage in counseling and start talking about the patterns or that's the job of the professional to look at you and say, wait a minute, stop. You just said something that is really paramount. So let's just stretch that out a bit. Let's just focus on that so that you can get into your own psychology. That's what Saturn in the 12th house is all about. And it brings up those secrets that you have created that you don't want to know. Like, I don't want to know. I don't want to know how much pressure I'm putting on myself. I don't want to know that I'm not perfect. Is that the core of it? I don't know. Maybe that's what's making you crazy. You are already perfect if you're moving toward wholeness. That's it. Just aim for the light. Aim for the non-conditional, unconditional source of replenishment and meditate often and more. Find your spirituality. You are pure conscious love, Saturn transiting through the 12th house. And then as we move into the first house, as I said earlier, that's when you actually feel it in your body. It's like, oh my gosh, I need to heal something. That's 12 and 1. Those two houses work together, just like they do with house 6, which we're going to talk about in just a moment. So if you're just joining us, happy Saturday. Today is October 5th, I think. And we're talking about Saturn transiting through house 1, through house 12, and now through house 6. Let's move on. And I just want to show you this so you know, because someone had asked, what does it look like in a transit? So come say hello to me. Come talk to me. And if you're seeing this in a replay, a lot of this will be on my Facebook page, of course, a lot of my videos, but you can also catch me on YouTube, and I'll post that link in just a moment. And remember to join me on Monday next week, the week of the 7th, October 7th. Actually, for 2 weeks, I will have a special offer that you're going to love about your transits. Now, just look at this transit. Laura Dern, the actress. Saturn is in her 11th house, 6 degrees away from Pluto. And I have this on a loop so you can see how it's... Which way? That way. No, I can't. That way. I'm backwards. Okay. So we're looking at her sun in Scorpio, the sun in Scorpio, transiting sun in Scorpio, moving all the way toward her Neptune. And then Mercury retrograde sits on her Neptune for a little while. So, and then we go back to the beginning, just a short little transit. But you can see Mars is moving out of her 7th house. So it's fun to see the transits. Neptune is on her ascendant. She might be on medication. She might have a new role that is going to win her an Oscar. She might be taking on dependents like stray cats or extra family members who want to come and hang out for a while. So there's a lot going on Laura Dern's chart. But I just wanted to show you what the outer wheel is representational of the planets that are in the heavens today, to date, October 5th through November in her transit chart. And then Saturn is a slower moving planet. It's an outer planet. So that is in the 11th house. And then Mars is moving out of her 7th house in Libra toward the 8th house and into Scorpio by the end of November. So that's what a transit looks like. The inner chart, the inner wheel, her inner wheel is her natal chart. Laura Dern, the actress's natal chart, and she has a lot of Pisces. Look at that. Moon in Pisces, Mercury in Pisces, Venus in Pisces. She's so magnetic, and she's meant for the stage. And Saturn in Pisces as well. But transiting Saturn for Laura is in the 11th house. So wherever the transits are in your chart, it shows you what you're ready for. It's your astrological timing. All right, let's move on to house 6. Oh my goodness. House 6 was Saturn. Saturn, okay. When Saturn, that planet, that karmic planet, that is all about structure and architecture and authority, is in the 6th house or transiting the 6th house, it's felt in ways where, okay, well, first of all, the 6th house deals with work, situations, productivity, the community at large, also lobbyists or political factions, community involvement, people rallying to get a petition signed, to get a spotlight, a red light or a stop sign put on the street corner because there's been some, minor accidents. It's community action. It's political reform and small pets. It also deals with veterinarians and work service. Working out your health is primary in the 6th house in astrology. So in astrology, when Saturn is transiting your 6th house, okay, please slow down. What are those aches about? Ow, my shoulder. Well, if you're sitting at the computer and you're like this, or you're on the phone all day and you're like this, with Saturn transiting the 6th house, remember the planets don't do anything to you, folks. We live in a cooperation with the cosmos so that when the planets make a move, you feel it. When you make a move, it's reflected in your chart by aspects and angles. All right. So astrology merely tells you what time it is. And when Saturn is transiting your 6th house in your chart, it's time for you to slow down, find a different way to work out because, maybe you need, some weight and strength training instead of running because all that pounding on your joints is going to take its toll. And you're going to feel that. So when Saturn transits your 6th house, just like it does for the 12th, these are opposite houses, but they have to do with inner well-being, psychological well-being, and also recuperating and healing. 6th house is your physical form. 1st house, we also talked about today. Also, it's your body parts. I'm a Capricorn rising, so Saturn is transiting in my 12th into my 1st, right on my ascendant soon. And, I'm having some joint issues. Carpal tunnel is on its way, but it's not because I'm going to stop it. So I make sure to do these, get the fluids going in between my joints and move my wrists a lot because I'm at the computer all the time. So I have to get up now often, shake it out. When Saturn transits your 6th house, your inner self, your higher self, your awareness is asking you to become very cognizant of your hormones, your knees, your joints, your skin, your teeth. What do you need? You might need some extra supplements. You might need some collagen. You might need gelatin. You might need bone broth, different nutrients to really help your bones. You might need to stretch over a big exercise ball. You might need to see, an osteopath, a chiropractor, physical therapist. You might need to practice yoga and really honor the body. With the houses today, I grouped them specifically. Monday, it was random. But today, I grouped them specifically. The 1st house, the 12th house, and the 6th house. You need to get jiggy with your body. All right? You understand? Does that make sense for you? I've been playing so much with my selenite. That selenite is, I don't know if that comes into focus. very well, but let's see that. Can you see that? Oh, it's not focusing very well. Okay, but selenite has these striations in it, and it's a self-healing stone. It adds lightness of being. So I've got a selenite lamp in my bedroom. I've got them on my desk when I work. I want you to think about being more mindful if Sun is transiting your 6th house, your 12th, or your 1st house. Because as you are more mindful, you realize I've been sitting and craning my neck for over an hour while I'm typing my notes, right? You might realize that, or you might think, I need to start working out and not just give lip service to it. You really need to, like, Saturn is the part of you that expects excellence. It expects the framework. And yes, caution. It's the part of you that is cautious, responsible. You feel restricted in movement sometimes when Saturn transits a house. And it's not because the planet's doing it to you. It's because of what you've been doing. Now the awareness comes to, ow, my shoulder hurts. Well, how are you treating your body? How are you treating your health? Are you ingesting things that are really nutritional and nutritious for you? So things like that. Take extra good care of your body and don't allow the stress to build around volunteering, around causes. You want to take the lead. You've got the clipboard in hand. You want to take on the responsibility, and or the responsibility is given to you when Saturn's transiting the 6th house. But service at the sake of yourself becomes denial. Denial leads to more karma. Karma is merely a balancing and harmonizing of energy. So take good, extra care of yourself as much as you would care for others. All right? Let's put it that way. You're a systems person. So right now with Saturn transiting the 6th house, even the 12th and the 1st houses too, systems come into play. What's a better way to organize your day? What's a better way to, structure your agenda? What is a better way, more productive, where you feel more responsible, you don't feel overwhelmed? It's all about housekeeping. Not just your own house, but you want to attend to. It's about economy. How do you want to utilize your energy? How do you want to structure your work? You might be visiting hospitals now, working in a hospital, having to do something with your own medical health, researching more about that ailment that you have, or, which is the best dentist to go to, or so the research comes into play as well. So systems, you're a stickler for details with Saturn transiting the 6th house, and you want to know what can take the pressure, what can relieve the pressure. Let's open up that valve. And okay, you might even vie for a leadership role so that others can support your cause. So you don't have to do all the work. What would that feel like? Well, I'm going to pull a card for everyone, and so we can wrap this up for Saturn in the transiting the 1st, 6th, and 12th houses. And I'll use my happy cards. Hope everyone is having a beautiful weekend. I'm going to be back on Monday with more Saturn transits through the houses, 3 more at least, and a special offer that you're going to love about your own transits. Okay, so Saturn calling in angels, guides, light beings, starseed to help us with another suggestion on how to utilize Saturn through the transiting through the 1st, 6th, and 12th houses. Oh, okay. Present moment. That's the card that flipped right out. Present moment. So let's be as mindful as we possibly can and present in the moment to realize we have a pressure valve and it's building. We don't want it to blow before we, injure our body, joints, knees, teeth, skin. Get a facial. How about that? Give yourself a facial. Switch from a chemical hair dye to a non-chemical hair dye that won't harm you. Think about that. So present moment, the moment you are in is the now. And now is the only place where transformation occurs. Saturn transiting houses 1, 6, and 12. I'll be back on Monday. Have a beautiful weekend. And yeah. let's relieve some of that pressure, shall we? Okay.